This is Oscar Bevis for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on DAZN. Ben?
Well done on the new job.
Good to see you, my man.
Really
Thank you.
Impressive.
Thank you.
How did that happen? Is this the first interview or not?
It is. I guess they were on the lookout for someone young, talented and handsome.
Very good.
And they didn't turn up, so they ended up for me. I was thinking the other day actually about, not the first time we met, but the first time we started doing bits of content together. And Baz said to me the other day when he sent me a DM after announcing this, he said, from the Altrincham ice rink.
I know.
Them tournament days.
Yeah, you were around. Someone actually showed me a ticket. He's just leaving today. He's leaving his old job, and it was that 27th of April 2018 was our first tournament. But you were definitely in and around it back then. Was it IFL?
Yeah.
And you probably the only one that came to our shows. But yeah, so it's been a long time.
Well, I'm going to hold that little sentence against you, which means now I should get whatever I want, right?
You should. I mean, was that your first year in boxing, 2018?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Mental though. Yeah, I was looking back and thinking, Jesus, it's been a crazy 6 years.
Do you like to look back or not?
No, to be honest, not at all. And sometimes I completely forget what's happened because the chaos of boxing is just like every day is just like something else. So you never actually think about what happened and the craziness of what happened. And then, as I say, my friend had a ticket on his desk and it was that 27th of April 2018, and it just took me back because I was just speaking then to Lewis about getting my license and the problems I had with that. I didn't actually have a license at that point, but just going, sometimes when you see things, like it might be a picture, it might be a fighter, it might be a arena, and it was those Manchester tournaments and then the Altrincham tournaments, crazy. Crazy to think back to then, Yeah,
well, from the Altrincham ice rink to Selhurst Park,
yeah.
You've done world title fights before. I'm not going to say they become in like second nature, but when you kick off a fight week like this, third world title.
No, on the run.
Third world title on the run.
We had Lauren and Lawrence.
When you start the week though, do you still get kind of a little kick? Did you wake up this morning and go, yeah, we're here now?
Definitely, just because the work that's gone in. Stadium fights are difficult. I mean, events in general are difficult, but stadium fights are hard, especially for the team and all the setup. But because of Chris and Richard, I think, because they've both been with us for a long time, and they've grown so much. I mean, Richard was our first 8-rounder that we ever put on a Sky broadcast, and so that journey with him, I remember going to the FA Cup semi-final with Palace to convince Steve Parish that this was on, that we were going to do this one day, and Richard was in my room ironing my shirt, and we went in together. And so to think from then, when he wasn't anywhere near a world title, to now getting to that point and delivering it, which was a bit of a joke at the start, I'll be honest. It's like what you're messing around with your friend. We're going to fight at the stadium. We're going to fight for a world title. And someone's got a clip of me saying that, and I saw it the other day. Did I think it? Maybe not. But the fact that it's come around is you have ups and you have downs in boxing, but that's a huge, amazing feeling. And then for Chris as well, because he joined us in that sort of European level, never really headlined before, then just kept headlining. It's his third world title back to back. So because of both guys, I think there's definitely a feeling about this week, and I'm excited because I don't know who's going to win as well. Like, I know a lot about both guys and what they can do, and I was convinced 4 weeks ago about who was going to win, 100% like convinced. And this week I've gone the other way. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's a tough one to call. So very excited about it.
Forget what you think about who's going to win.
Yeah.
A bit of a horrible question, and you don't have to answer with a name. Just a yes or no. Do you have someone lodged who you want to win of the two?
I don't, and people are going to look and say he's definitely lying there.
Nerves, then you can watch without any nerves.
No, because I feel
on the night.
No, I feel for both guys because it was. Look, it was similar with Buatsi Aziz, probably a bit different actually. With Buatsi Aziz, everyone knew that Dan was an old friend of mine. But then from a business perspective, Buatsi's the one in the ascendancy that's going to fight for world titles and things like that, or at that point. So you've always got those, but for me, just as a fan, I'm looking forward to it. Of course, I'll be nervous for both guys. It means so much. Chris has been here before. He's made quite a lot of money in the past 12 months, and so it's his third world title, and so there's a lot of pressure on Richard. You know, he's never going to get not an easier chance. He's never going to get a better chance to win a world title than Saturday night. So I just hope that he gives absolutely everything and gives the best account of himself, and then the best man will win.
Yeah, well, you're right. It's, like you said, not the easiest, but the best chance you're going to get to win it on home turf. What are you expecting from ticket sales? Has it flown?
It has, and look, we knew we had a decision. We couldn't do it in Bournemouth, and then we could have gone to the O2 or Wembley Arena, but in June, to have this opportunity, they're going to be 15,000 at least in there, which for a domestic world title is incredible. It's Richard's obviously first time headlining something like this. There's a lot of fans coming up from Bournemouth, but it's more the entertainment experience. I know the team have worked so hard. Obviously, we have a lot of boxing indoors, and there's a lot of entertainment that starts from like 4:30, and there's so much going on. The ring walks that they're planning is ridiculous, and I've just seen Mr. Whittaker come in, and he's got his orchestra ready, and so the whole experience on Saturday will be brilliant. If anyone is in London and you want to come and experience something, the sun coming down, a world title fight, the music, the drinks, I think they're doing a fan zone from 4:30, 5 o'clock for the Spain-Croatia game, which will be great, and then into a brilliant night of boxing. But yeah, it'll be pretty special. Yeah,
and there's the sales pitch. I like it. Just in terms of the Sky schedule, there's nothing announced beyond Saturday night, and obviously there'll be things in the works. Can you kind of see why fans might be looking and going, is there any concerns at the moment? Because we've got a potentially big Riyadh season event on September the 21st with fighters you've been involved with, mentioned and rumoured to be on the undercard. Can you see why fans might be going, kind of where are the steps for Boxer in the next 6 to 8 months?
No, to be honest, we're announcing today Caleb Simpson. He's going to headline in Barnsley. Outdoor again, against Zach Chelly, and he's one of the headliners we've been looking forward to. August the 31st at the O2 is a date that we're pretty committed to, and we'll be announcing that in the next week or so, and then depending on what happens to Ben on Saturday, then he'll be headlining in early September. So we've got hopefully 2 shows in August, 1 in September, looking at a couple of fighters on the Saudi card as well. So it's going to be a busy couple of months, but yeah, in boxing there's a lot going on at the moment.
Is it an easy or a difficult time to be a promoter right now?
It depends, I think.
There's a lot of money involved, and when there's a lot of money, I guess fights will get made. But I mentioned the Riyadh season events, and your best event this year has been Fabio Wally versus Fraser Clark from an entertainment perspective, and that was a Boxer event on Sky Sports. Eddie's had brilliant Matchroom events on DAZN. Frank, brilliant Queensberry events on TNT without the involvement of Riyadh season in the outside. So
I think
there's positives and negatives. How do you kind of view the scene at the moment?
It's a good question. I do think outside of the events that Riyadh season and Saudi have been involved in, we've had the strongest schedule by somewhere. And we've had to contend with that. We don't have Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. So, you know, it has been more difficult in that sense. But as we see now with fights being planned, the vision, I mean, Martin Bakoli, we just, thanks to his excellency, because we just managed to get an unbelievable fight for him, which is almost like a gift, and you don't get that. I think that's where it helped. You wouldn't get that if Saudi wasn't involved. No one wants to fight Martin Bakoli. He must have had to pay Jared Anderson a fortune to get him in the ring, and he gives us a great fight. So it is difficult sometimes, as it has been, but there's also massive opportunities, and I think going forward it's exciting to be discussing fights with them directly. It's exciting to be looking at what's possible and what they can make possible. There's a lot of cross-promotional fights that can happen, but as I say, I think our schedule this year has been phenomenal, so we're in a good place.
Yeah, and it carries on Saturday night, of course. Just on that September 21st card, obviously I know at the moment there are rumours, I feel like strong rumours nowadays always kind of seem to be a little bit concrete when things are announced. What's the relationship like between you and Joshua Buatsi at the moment? When was the last time you spoke? How kind of you two at the moment?
Very good. I mean, obviously he's in a really strong position, isn't he? So he's got a decision to make.
Do you feel like he needs to get on that now? The win over Dan. Look,
the fight, it was Anthony Yarde. It's a huge fight. It's a fight that the fans want to see. It's a fight that brings everyone out. It's the fight that the whole of London wants to see. I think he wants the big fights and the big nights and the headline nights, and that's something that we want. And this fight was originally, we wanted it to happen on June the 15th. Didn't happen for reasons that we know. We hope that it can happen now, but he's in a great position and he's got a couple of options there as well. So with Willie, but I think we'll have some news in the next week or so. But as I say, I've made it, very, very clear what fight I'd like as a fan, as a promoter of Josh Buatsi. I think he's number one in that many governing bodies. He's got to wait till Beterbiev and Bivol fight and possibly a rematch. That's just the nature of it. And there's going to be one holder of those belts, and it'll be when they decide to vacate, or we'll be going through the governing bodies. I think next in line is the IBF, then it's the WBA. So whatever he does, he's going to be waiting on what happens with those two. And for me, it's about taking the big fights now. And for me, Yarde's the biggest fight if we can make that happen. If not, then he has a great option as well.
Yeah, obviously Queensberry put a tweet out that said they want Anthony Yarde to honour his contract. He put one out saying he's a free agent. So I guess a bit of a messy situation. Lawrence Okoli had the same when he departed Matchroom. Joshua Buatsi the same, and they ended up fighting under you. Are you looking to pounce?
No, to be honest,
have you got your eyes on that situation? Because Anthony Yarde, you said that you have a lot of fury on Joshua, but on the rungs of fighters, he's quite high up. I would say he's one of British boxing's top 5, top 6 in terms of faces. We're
probably extra cautious now because we don't want to. I've never wanted to. I think get involved, but certain fighters, we've had it where they, for some reason, a promotional contract comes to an end and they move on, and it happens all the time. We've been extra cautious. We were absolutely desperate, I can't tell you, to have this fight as a double header at Sellers Park. And it's a shame because sometimes we're so cautious that maybe it's affecting our fighter who's not fought since February the 3rd and has been convinced that fight was happening, and then it's not happened. And so you can't. Sometimes you're in this difficult situation where you don't know. You want to make sure you're straight and you want to make things fair, and we just try to be open with our intention and our position. And our intention is that we do want that fight, but only if we can make the fight and it's clean and everyone and there's no contracts being broken and this and that, and that's why we're in this position now. And Josh will have to make the decision. But as I say, the Yarde fight, if we could make it, is the one that we would love to make because everyone's getting the big fights right now. The fans are getting the fans that they want. If you ask every fan in here what fight they want for Joshua Buatsi, it'll be Anthony Yarde.
Yeah, such a banger of a fight.
Fingers
crossed it's one
ridiculous.
I hope we see it.
I hope we see it.
Just quickly to finish up on 5v5. I know we haven't spoken to you since. Who did you want to win? Can you answer that? We're all meant to be friends now, right?
Who do you want to win?
I guess was you looking more at the fighters on play rather than taking it as Matchroom versus Queensberry?
Probably. I probably enjoyed Queensberry winning, but only because I've got so much stick from Matchroom. But in all seriousness, it was good to see, and it was good to see. And I've seen a lot of people throwing out about boxer Matchroom, boxer Queensberry cards. I think it's going to happen now, so it's exciting. And it was great to see, and some great fights on there. I think for the boxing fans, that's all they want.
Yeah. What about you versus Frank or you versus Eddie? And I mean with the gloves. I'm not talking stables. I'm talking with the gloves.
I think Eddie's enormous. It's bigger than I thought. I didn't realise. I saw the football on.
It did look a bit
on Sunday.
Like
I was like, bloody hell, the guy's like a fucking truck. So yeah, I think maybe Frank Smith I'd take. He gives me Frank Smith, and then Frank Warren. I couldn't do that.
You can't do it.
I can't do that. No.